Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
How can Shinsuke Nakamura's heel turn save SmackDown? I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble, where today we are reviewing the SmackDown after WrestleMania. It is the last installment of this crazy WrestleMania week, where we have done shows for NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania, the Raw after Mania, today the SmackDown after Mania. Before that, we did the go-home shows for Raw and SmackDown, and the predictions for NXT and WrestleMania. This is our 9th show in 10 days. Thank you to everyone who's been there with us to watch this ungodly amount of content. We have enjoyed the heckins out of it.
We certainly have, and we are going to announce now that although you're getting your usual episodes on Saturday and Monday, we're also going to be doing bonus episodes for the Raw after the Superstar Shakeup and the SmackDown after the Superstar Shakeup, giving all of our thoughts on who's gone to what shows and what this could mean for those wrestlers and for those shows moving forward. So you're getting another bonus episode next week.
It's more WrestleRamble than ever. I've just realised I haven't got my gimmick on.
Oh no!
My jacket. Okay, well, it's past it now.
It's 2 now.
So, you mentioned the Superstar Shakeup there. There is one element that I hope is not affected by the Superstar Shakeup, and that is the main event of SmackDown, which out of nowhere has become one of the greatest, character mixed in with in-ring talent three-way feuds ever. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Daniel Bryan.
Speaking of segues,
yes,
that was excellent.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, because I hadn't really considered that this Nakamura thing would also include Daniel Bryan, because I was like, okay, well, the AJ Styles Nakamura match at WrestleMania, that was clearly just, here's the first match in a series. And I was like, okay, cool, so we'll do AJ and Nakamura again at Backlash. Then when you had the main event with Daniel Bryan in there as well, and Nakamura attacked Bryan, so the main event was AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, and at the end of that, a cracking little match.
Yes.
What I loved about that match in particular was they gave you just enough to make you want to see more of it while still being an excellent TV match. But at the end of it, Nakamura slid in and kicked Daniel Bryan. That gives Daniel Bryan the win and AJ a loss, because Daniel Bryan wins via DQ, so it's a nice little dig there into AJ Styles. But that also gives Daniel Bryan some motivation to be like, dude, you kicked me in the face for no reason. Now we can have this 3-way feud over the WWE Championship, and that is excellent news.
And not just in the face, but in the back of the head. One of the most dangerous parts to get struck in if you've just suffered a load of concussions. So I really liked that threat level of where Shinsuke went for him. And then he continued his feud with Styles' balls.
He did. He gave him a low blow, a knee to the face, and then another low blow. Stop it. He's already dead.
That first low blow was so over the top and ham-fisted. He just sort of drove his arm up there and stayed there and gurning his face, and it was the most dramatic low blow I've seen in a long time that somehow didn't come off comedic. It was just an awesome low blow.
I imagine the production meeting for that and the producers backstage was told Nakamura, I want you to low blow AJ with all the ferocity that Ronda Rousey points at WrestleMania signs. Give us that. And that's exactly what he gave us.
And this ties into the thing we teased at the start of the video, which is, oh my god, I did not know I wanted Shinsuke Nakamura as a heel this much, because I've only ever been familiar with Nakamura in the last 2 years of his New Japan run. I'm not that cool, guys. I wasn't watching New Japan 5 years ago, and he was always just a badass face there, heading the Chaos faction, going against the Bullet Club members. And then he came over to NXT, babyface all the way through his run there, and on the main roster so far, he's been a babyface all that time up until the WrestleMania match, where he turned heel after defeating Styles. And
after losing to Styles.
After losing to Styles. I don't care about that match.
Well, it's funny. I didn't even think about this at the time, but someone pointed out in the comments, the whole build to the WrestleMania match was knee to face and forearm to face, and Styles won with the Styles Clash.
Yes, good point. It wasn't the best WrestleMania booking for moves and how they've structured moves, Lesnar and Reigns being the main example. But I realised on the way in this morning, because I was thinking about how excited I am for Nakamura's heel persona now, because I think he knocked it out of the park and has completely rejuvenated his character in the backstage interview he had with Renee Young and that main event run-in at the end. And I thought, you know what? Because I was trying to compare it, very aptly, to Sami Zayn in my head. Of course, Sami Zayn had Nakamura's first match in NXT when Nakamura joined, but Sami Zayn turned heel last October at Hell in a Cell, and it was like, oh man, I didn't want you to turn heel because you haven't had that proper run as a babyface, but you've actually done very well as a heel. And I thought, is that similar to Nakamura in that you've had a kind of run as a babyface? I don't feel like you had the run you could have had as a babyface. That wasn't like hitting the top heights of your potential, Nakamura. But I'm kind of happy because you can perform this heel role well as well. But then I thought, no, it's because I didn't want Zayn to turn heel because I'm so into him as a babyface. And to be honest, I still think that's where his money is. I was never into Nakamura as a face. I didn't really consider him as a heel. I'm just into Nakamura as Nakamura. So if you change up which side of the moral spectrum he falls on, it doesn't actually harm his appeal because he's still doing all the crazy moves and the charisma and the entrance. But just making him a heel is inspired, and he is inspired in his performance. I love it. I really, really like him at the moment. He's surpassed Ronda Rousey as my favourite thing in WWE.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's big news. And what's also really interesting about this, I hadn't considered this until you just started talking about it then. And it's probably something we hadn't really thought about when doing all of our WrestleMania predictions and our what's going to happen post-WrestleMania talks. SmackDown didn't have a top heel. It was the land of babyfaces because Orton's a babyface, Bobby Roode's a babyface, AJ's a babyface, Nakamura's a babyface. You got Jinder as a heel, but you don't want Jinder back up into. Jinder essentially was effectively the top heel on SmackDown. So Nakamura turning heel has now made him the number one heel on the brand, and that's a great slot for him. And now they can have a much more personal feud that's not just based around knee to face or just like at WrestleMania I will beat you. Like we'll use it as the thumbnail for this show, but there's a picture of Nakamura smiling with his gum shield in, as posing at the end of the show. That just as soon as I saw that picture, I was like, I love it. Like this is a great Nakamura, and his promo he did with Renee Young. Renee Young had some of the worst dialogue that we've heard all year when she was asking him about his...
Outside of Charlotte promo.
Deplorable. You know, she was talking about this being the most deplorable action she did. It's along those lines. It was completely garbled verbiage that no one would ever say in a real interview. But the key to it was Nakamura was like feigning this apology, saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry I hit you," and then she's like, "Well, that seems a bit disingenuous. Tell us what you really feel." And he just went, "Sorry, I don't speak English," and walked away. Wonderful. That's so much better. His promos are not his strength in English. I kept saying it throughout the entire build to WrestleMania. Just have him cut promos in Japanese. Now he doesn't need to, because he just say, "Sorry, I don't speak English," and walk away. It's such a dick thing to do, because I know you do speak English.
I don't know, man. I think heel Nakamura can cut these kinds of promos. Like that performance there, in his delivery and his facial expressions, was perfect for the sort of character he's playing. And you can hear how he connected with the crowd. As soon as he started to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry about AJ," like that is better acting in his second language than it was for a lot of the WWE roster with their first language. And the crowd immediately started laughing because they knew exactly what he was doing from the get-go, even though it's a fresh heel turn. And then when he followed that up with the "don't speak English," it's really, really good. And I actually I'm not long promos, because I don't think anyone should cut long promos outside The Rock and people, but he can certainly cut these types of English language promos very effectively. And I hope he does, because this was really promising.
Yeah, no, it really was. I loved the interview, and then I loved the interference he did at the end. And as he said, like, I love this idea of this three-way feud between Nakamura, Styles, and Daniel Bryan. And then you've got the shake-up coming next week. What if someone from Raw can come over and be inserted into that picture as well? I'm thinking Finn Balor coming over, and you make that a 4-way feud. Like, that's... I mean,
wow.
Again, that's another babyface coming across, but it's Finn Balor, man. Like, he's not really doing a lot on Raw at the moment, because Rollins has got the IC belt, and he's currently... And, like, I think Rollins and The Miz might be a better feud going there. So I'd love Balor to jump across to SmackDown, preferably with Gallows and Anderson, so we can get, like, a Bullet Club thing over there. And like him and AJ, that just seems to me like a really great idea.
This could be a very exciting time for SmackDown, and it all hinges on next week, because we could be saying all this and Nakamura's drafted back to NXT,
or Daniel Bryan's drafted to Raw.
Yeah. So it could mean nothing, but for right now, it's tremendously exciting, and this could be a new era of the old SmackDown 6.
Yeah,
I was thinking on the way here, like, who would I put in there? Obviously, the 3 guys we've got at the moment, and this will come at the expense of Raw, but that you can have like the big names, your Reigns, your Brock Lesnar's,
your Rollins.
Well,
you want to put Rollins in there?
Well, I'm just thinking, like, so you've got Bryan, Styles, Nakamura, Randy Orton. I would put in there as well, because that's kind of like a big classic name. Rollins and Balor off the top of my head.
See, I was thinking Rusev in there, but
yeah, I mean Rusev is. I obviously love Rusev, but he is. That's not a main. He's not main event yet.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a really
good.
good
Of flack for that.
Oh, you might do, yeah. Might actually get all the hateful comments. But yeah, no, I really like that, because I was thinking about this today. There's a moment on this SmackDown Live where I literally went, "Oh God, no!" There's like that gif they use from the US office where Michael Scott goes like, "God, please, God, no!" And it was when Randy Orton won the triple threat to become Jinder Mahal's #1 contender. I was like, oh, God, I don't want to see this feud again. But then I thought, man, if one of them gets drafted to Raw, and then you were talking about then Rollins coming across, I was like, send Jinder over to Raw with the US title and send Rollins over to SmackDown with the IC title, swap the belts across, we can have Rollins on, and that to me is a much better scenario than Jinder and Randy feuding again over the IC title. I initially thought send Randy over to Raw, but yeah, switch him over. Lovely, much prefer that.
So should we get on with the rest of the show, like go from the start?
Yeah,
let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. It's a SmackDown review, Maggle, I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
Daniel Bryan was, of course, allowed to wrestle in the main event because he is now, as Todd Phillips said on commentary, a full-time active member of the roster, which does mean he is up for the Superstar Shake-Up, which is a warning sign. I genuinely hope he stays on SmackDown.
He belongs on SmackDown.
But I could see the reasoning for move. Like, it would be bigger for Daniel Bryan to go to Raw, I think, and he could be the top babyface Reigns there. But here it just feels a lot more exciting if they keep those 3 together.
I think that's my worry, is him going across to Raw. He's always going to be positioned below Reigns, and then it's 2015 all over again. And so I'd much rather him stay on SmackDown, where he can be amongst that upper echelon.
But in the opening promo of the show, Shane McMahon came out and he explained this. He said, Daniel Bryan, I have accepted his resignation as general manager. It's totally fine. There's no heel shenanigans involved. He just wants to be a wrestler. So we need a new SmackDown GM.
Was it the rumoured Jeff Jarrett?
Nope.
Was it the rumoured Hulk Hogan?
Nope.
Who could it have been?
It was Paige, Luke.
Paige here.
We're
allowed to use that meme again,
because
right?
It's nice. The retirement's kind of to the side.
I mean, I'm glad you've said that, because I've used it twice in the SmackDown Live review.
Paige here,
which is great, because that now means it's my joke. I've stolen your joke.
Snatched it from the jaws of defeat. So, and I'm trying to think of there weren't any other rumours for SmackDown GM. Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who's usually pretty on the money, said after the Raw episode, Paige is going to be gone for a bit. That she'll work with the company. She'll still do Total Divas. Of course, there's the film coming out later this year. But everything else points to that she's gone.
Well, actually, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, they didn't say that, we've heard that they're going to be gone. But they did say, that promo said, hey, it sounds like she's gone. And I think that's what that promo was designed to do. It was designed to make people think, I think she's taking some time off. I think she's leaving the company. She literally said, I'm going to find work outside of this company.
Yeah.
And then 24 hours later, she's announced as the new GM of SmackDown Live.
If that was the case, rather than a last-minute change, well done, WWE. That was a very well-structured promo.
It was absolutely.
But yes, Paige then comes out, and she just owns the role right from the get-go. She is such a good talker, And that's kind of been lost in recent months because she hasn't been allowed to talk properly.
No, but as I said in the review, she's been an unnecessary third wheel to Absolution. And in fact, Absolution can't get over because Paige is just standing on the outside, being a bigger star, and she's not cutting promos for them, so the trio has just been useless. And I'm not slamming Paige for saying it's her fault, because it's the booking's fault for keeping them all together. But Paige really was bringing that group down because she's so much bigger than the other two. But as soon as she came out into this role, I was like, she's naturally just slotted herself in. And that allows Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville to just do much bigger and better things because they're not being weighed down by a bigger star standing on the outside doing nothing. This is so much better. Unless
one of them they both get drafted to SmackDown.
I genuinely think
kind of helps them out every now and again.
One of them is going to either one. They're not going to be on the same show.
So I really, really hope, and not because he's ill or anything like that. I don't wish ill physical health on someone, but surely Shane has got to be gone for a while to get treatment on his stomach or whatever he's got going on, and that because there is no need for Shane and Paige as authority figures on this show.
No, there isn't.
Paige cannot wrestle.
No.
So we can't build this into an angle. Shane should just come back for whenever he's got like a big scheduled match coming up. Yeah, SummerSlam, a Survivor Series. So, but really hope that Shane goes away now because I'm sick of his recaps of at the start of the show. What up, local town?
Mm-hmm.
And Paige just does that a lot more organically, and there's no need to have the tension storyline between them.
I completely agree, especially because with Shane, he came out to say he came out this promo saying this is the full stop or the exclamation point on a great WrestleMania week. And he was like, and I just want to thank the fans for making WrestleMania so special. And I was like, it sounded so disingenuous. I was like, I don't buy a single word you've just said there because it's just garbled verbiage that they've given him. But there was a point I was going to make. Oh yeah, he did say this is the very last thing in the WrestleMania week. I was like, mate, 205 Live's after this, and so's NXT. This is not the last stop, you lying beggar. But anyway, I thought he just comes across very disingenuous when he says things like that. But Paige sounds very natural when she says things like that. So I'd much rather Shane step away from a little bit. You can't miss someone if you don't go away.
And Paige has got such a wicked, flirty style.
Yeah.
The way she said, I want this first night to be great.
I'm back.
Who should it... Paige here. I want this night to be great. And to make it good, I'm going to have Daniel Bryan in his first TV match in years. I wonder who it should be against. And then the crowd start chanting, Rusev Day. And she goes, against... And then they chant something else, against. And it was a really nice way to... And she was working them perfectly. She looks like a total baby face, but she's got that heel in her, if she wanted to turn later on down the line. And eventually she books AJ Styles. The crowd go nuts. I'm very excited for a main event of SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God. This was just a great start, a great decision for Paige, and she's going to be awesome in the role. I can't wait to see her perform. And I do hope that Shane goes away.
Yes. I think she'll be better at this role than Kurt Angle has been.
Usos came out next for their match with the New Day. This was for the number one contender shot at the greatest Royal Rumble, which is it's like when Japanese pay-per-view names get badly translated into English.
Yeah.
Like Best of the Super Juniors. Doesn't sound right. It sounds cool, but this is a similar kind of bad translation. Greatest Royal Rumble.
My favourite thing about Greatest Royal Rumble so far, because I've been inundated with messages about this, and the comments on all our YouTube videos say the same thing, and friends of mine have asked me, what is the Greatest Royal Rumble? What is it actually for? And when I just keep saying, it's a house show, that's not really everyone, when they hear Royal Rumble, they're like, oh, cool, so the winner gets something. The winner gets a title shot, because that's what the Royal Rumble is. You win the Royal Rumble, you headline WrestleMania. The two are intrinsically linked. But people are just like, well, what is on the line? Why am I watching this other than the fact that WWE are making a lot of money off of it? What is the Greatest Royal Rumble for? But my argument would be, it can't be for another title shot, because then that devalues the other Rumble, surely. I mean, you could do it as you win prize money. Which is
I hate prize money.
It's useless. It's as crap as winning a trophy, but at least it feels like there is something on the line to win.
Well, I'm sure they'll build the winner as the first ever Greatest Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, they outlast
at least 4 weeks.
They outlasted 49 other men.
That's a lot of people. I wonder how quick it's going to be. just like 30-second ring entrances.
Yeah.
So you'll be counting down from 10 every 20 seconds. This was for the tag title shot against the new champs, the Bludgeon Brothers. The Usos came out looking pissed.
Oh, didn't they just?
I liked that. No clapping and smiling for them.
They were selling the fact that they lost the tag team titles, selling the fact that they would just... They're pissed off, man. And I love that. New Day came out with all of their usual bravado and stuff. Back to the old New Day entrance. Wasn't with stuff on screen. It was just a regular, it was really good. A much better presentation of the New Day.
Which I'm hoping they stick with that. I think like sometimes they're, okay, we've committed to this, so we're just going to do it until WrestleMania. And then there's the refresh and hopefully no more words on screens. Because there wasn't any words on promos.
No.
So that's good.
Maybe.
I enjoyed this match.
God, this was a heck of a match, man, because it was, as I read in the review, it's amazing what happens when you give really good wrestlers some time. And I really, really enjoyed this. There was some really good near falls. Loved the spot when they did the Uranagi into a backstabber. Wonderful stuff. You did Xavier deadlifting Big E again into a splash. There was a moment when, I'm wondering if I've got my wrong notes up here. 1 second.
Well, I'll fill in while you're doing that. My favourite spot was when Xavier Woods just started doing some closed fist strikes on Jey Uso to his kidneys. And then, like, Jey Uso hit a few strikes back. It looked like the angriest that these two teams have been at each other for a while.
The bit that made me laugh was right at the start of this, that Big E throws a belly-to-belly suplex on Jey, like a big overhead thing, and Rudy Charles had to jump out of the way. And Kofi on the outside, you can hear him screaming like, "You better get out of the way, Charles! You better get out of the way!" I love that. And also, an interesting thing for you in particular, they announced that this was a match because the Usos have foregone their automatic rematch clause. Oh. And later on, Randy had to fight in a triple threat match to earn his rematch. It almost felt like it was a subtle way of getting rid of the automatic rematch clause. Maybe. I don't know. It just seems weird that both titles that switched, they didn't do the automatic rematches.
I mean, that's great.
If it is.
The winners were the former champs anyway.
But at least they had a match in order to get there.
Yeah. So this was a very good match. It went about 6-7 minutes on TV, but there was an ad break in the middle.
And there's another there's so many awesome spots in this. But there's a spot where Xavier goes to do like his rolling, jumping clothesline thing, and he did the roll and jumped, and they caught him in a Samoan drop. There was just some really, really cool, amazing stuff here. This is what I wanted from the WrestleMania match, but with that Bludgeon Brothers dominating presence in there. We didn't get that at all of it. I can't tell you a single spot that happened at the WrestleMania match, because it just happened. Like, they made entrances, and then the match ended.
Why not give that tag match 10 minutes and Nia Jax versus Alexa 5? Yeah. Why not just switch those around?
Absolutely.
So the Bludgeon Brothers came out to just point their hammers at the Usos at the end, and they're looking forward to it.
So they're having their match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, whereas the US one is going to happen at Backlash. The US title will be defended at Greatest Royal Rumble.
Next up, we got Naomi. It was like a backstage skit from earlier in the day. Naomi posing with the uterus trophy, and Natalya comes out and goes, "Ooh, I wanted to win that uterus trophy."
And Naomi went, "Oh, you're a rubbish, and we should have a match later."
Ooh, okay.
And Natalya walked off going like, "Oh, that's not what I wanted at all."
I wanted you to... I don't know what I wanted. I wanted you to give me the trophy, I guess.
And Naomi did a smile.
So they had a match after that, which was fine, but...
It was very pedestrian. One of them won. Naomi won, in fact. She did a split-legged moonsault and won. I wonder if Natalya is going to Raw.
That's a good point. I forgot that we're meant to be looking out for who's losing here.
Yeah.
I guess the New Day lost. But I hope they don't break up that three-way feud. They have given really no hints for us to want this, like they haven't really set up this three-way feud between them, but we've whipped ourselves into such a frenzy that we don't want it not to happen.
Yeah.
It's like me with the ladder match. I still want that Usos New Day ladder match, and I'm angry at WWE for not giving it to me, even though they've never really foreshadowed a ladder stipulation.
Could be TLC, man.
That'd be amazing. Then we had the Shinsuke Nakamura backstage interview, which was fantastic.
It was.
I mean, as much as I love the main event running at the end, I think this is my favourite thing on the show.
Interesting.
Then we had Charlotte come out to cut a rubbish promo.
It was a very rubbish Charlotte promo.
I feel really sorry for her because I was one of the people who would defend her promo ability back when she was a heel on Raw. I was like, I like the way she sometimes interacts with the crowd and works them a little bit off that. And it feels a lot more natural for her to say she's the best, better than all of you scumbags and all the other people. They can't lace my boots. Than going, thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's so hard to get here.
When she said, we made that match magical, I'm like, no, you didn't. It was a really good match, but magical is not the right word. And it's like, it was...
What is the right word? Fine.
No, it was more than... That match was more than fine.
But it was more than fine. It was a very good match, but it was not a classic.
No, it was an all-time classic, but they have to try and push it as an all-time classic. Yeah. I think my bigger thing...
It was a good TV main event.
My bigger thing here, and I think what's actually kind of really pissed me off about WWE this week, and this is... I think this is something that no one's really bringing up. Asuka's streak was for naught. Because nothing has come of Asuka losing her streak. She wasn't on Raw. They barely mentioned it. They didn't even mention it on SmackDown, really. They just said, she beat her streak. But, what did that mean? Charlotte just came out and was like, the match was so magical. No, mate, you broke the streak. You broke, over 200, whatever it was.
Years.
A 2-year streak.
200-year
streak. But you just and it was so magical, and the crowd really enjoyed it. Bollocks, mate, you broke the streak. This should be... When Brock Lesnar broke The Undertaker's streak, it was all about eat, sleep, conquer the streak. And they cut this big promo, I'm the one in 21-1. Or Paul Heyman was cutting this promo at the very least. It felt like they used it as a character development. Which means, and it really annoys me that Asuka's streak has just amounted to naught.
Yeah, I really agree. I really am not engaged at all with Charlotte's character as a babyface.
It's just boring because she's nothing.
I'm sure there's a good babyface character in there, but it's not this one.
No.
And it's a shame because she's fantastic in the ring. I like her promos. I know some people don't, but whatever. So she cuts that promo, and then who is she going to challenge next, she asks.
No. Well, she said, who am I going to make magic with next?
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, that's the whole point of her promo. The match was so magical, who am I going to make magic with next?
Imagine if Goldberg used to say that. Who's gonna get some magic next? It's like my old shut up line. Hey, everybody, who wants to get mad? You? Okay, no, not you. Do you want to get mad? Okay, hey, over. Okay, stop running. You can't. Magic. So it was the iconic. They're not called the Iconic.
They're called the
duo.
Iconics. The Iconic duo. I think it's because that's something that they can easily brand and trademark because they've done it with a double I. So they're the Iconics now.
How would it be a double I?
Because they've got the two silhouettes. That's the two I's in the Iconics name. So
right, I see.
I.
You could still do that with the word iconic has two I's in, regardless of plurality.
Yeah, but that's how they did it on NXT, man. And that's NXT. That's for doofy people. This is main roster now. This is the big stage, Ollie. This is where the bright lights really shine.
Jog on, Paul Ellerin. Jog on the word duo. One of the more short-sighted things of this, I like memes. I follow a lot of meme forums. They make me laugh a lot.
I mean, you couldn't tell with your page here, love.
Exact page here. And there is a meme format going around for the last month and a half of name a more iconic duo.
Yes.
And the punchline is it's not a very iconic duo. It's just two people who it
was like Selena Gomez and someone.
Yeah.
I think that was the original thing. It was name a more iconic duo, I'll wait. And then everyone just names people Statler and Waldorf, or they'll name actually more iconic duos.
Background characters from Star Wars: A New Hope.
I did see someone on Reddit, I can't remember who it was, but when they later on said name a more un-iconic duo than Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. Lovely stuff.
But there was one of the ones that I found funniest was name a more iconic duo, I'll wait. And it was just a picture of Peyton Royce and Billy Kay.
Yeah.
And it's then why do you drop duo? I mean, it is nitpicking.
Yeah.
But I think the Iconic duo is a much better name than the Iconics.
It's all right, I keep calling them the Iconic duo. That, I'm just going to keep referring to them as that, in all fairness. But
you won't.
And eventually, it'll be beaten out of
eventually
me.
It's just Neville.
We've all forgotten that Apollo Crews hasn't got a surname anymore. We've all forgotten that.
Apollo Crews hasn't gone yet, has it? It's still Apollo Crews. No matter how much they call him Apollo.
Anyone remember Big E's last name?
Langston.
I know, exactly, right? Like we just know him as Big E now. But on the Paul Ellering thing, a lot of people said in the comments yesterday, it's because he didn't want to work a full-time schedule. Apparently that's the
speculation.
Report. Well, it appears to be the speculation, but a lot of people, I got messages from people saying that as a fact.
They said it on Wrestling Observer as maybe he doesn't want to, like at his age, Meltzer said.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people reported it as fact. But it was just a speculation, yeah.
And but apparently Rachel Ellering said on Twitter, that's his daughter, that's not the case. So, interesting. I wonder if that is more a case of they just like, as I said yesterday, he got backstage at Vince was like, what's Paul Ellering doing here? No, he's not going out. He's so old, and he's a manager.
Yes. So back to the iconic duo, or the Iconics. They were super over with the crowd.
Well, the crowd were waiting for them to debut, more or less.
Really?
Oh, I think.
Did you think it was going to be the Iconic duo when Charlotte was going?
Yes.
Who's next?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think that
who's magical?
Who can I make magic with next? I think these two have essentially just been sitting on the sidelines, waiting for their call up, and WWE have just been like, we're waiting for the right time to do it. They haven't been on NXT TV for so long, so everyone's just been like, cool. Well, they're definitely getting the call up next. And this crowd, it didn't happen on Raw. Everyone who's been predicting stuff to happen on SmackDown Live all said the Iconic duo are going to get called up, and
I didn't see it coming. I was stupidly caught unaware.
But I was like, as I said in the review, it's about damn time, because like they're so good as a duo and they're so good as an act. I love their Mean Girl act. I think it's really fun. I think it's really funny. I think they can do some really wonderful stuff in backstage segments, because they sound very natural when they're being when they're being dicks. They just sound really natural when they do it. They just like, it really fits their personas. And it was great when they were starting to do it here on Charlotte, making fun of the way Charlotte cuts promos, thanking absolutely everyone. I think I can't remember who she they just listed off all these people.
They thanked air.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that was funny.
I've really got to thank the air that I breathe. Like it's like stupid stuff like that.
The great thing about that line is that it's not funny.
No, that's why it works.
Yeah, because they're like stupid bitchy heels.
It's designed not to be funny, but they think it's hilarious.
Yes.
And if there's one thing I love in this world, it's heels who laugh at their own jokes.
Yeah.
That aren't funny.
They were great. And to be honest, it is only fair, given the amount I say I'm hard for Rollins and I appreciate Triple H's body. Peyton Royce is my new favourite lady on the main roster in terms of attractiveness.
Is it because she's cut all her hair now?
I don't know. She's just stunning, isn't she? Anyway, they then, after this promo, attack Charlotte in quite a convincing beatdown, and one that Charlotte didn't bet. I was so worried. I was like, Charlotte, stay down. Stay the magic down. Because, she sort of fought off all the Riot Squad, and then you're like, well, I don't really care about those singles matches because you beat all three of them.
I thought the exact same thing. And I thought that Royce and Kay looked really dangerous and looked really brutal in the beatdown that they gave. And then I suddenly thought, I was like, but so did the Riot Squad when they debuted. So, it's not what we do this week and next week. It's what we do the week after that. But I thought this was a really good first step. I was slightly distracted because I saw Brian Quinn and Sal from Impractical Jokers in the behind the commentators, and I was like, "Oh, it's Brian Quinn."
Could all be a joke. Peyton Royce has got like an earpiece in. Go on. Say the air. Thank air.
So
that's their laughter. Their incessant laughter.
You hate that show?
No, I don't hate it at all. I think it's very funny, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not into it as you are.
I love that show. But the beatdown was really, really good. And what I loved about this beatdown is that I then didn't see the cash in coming. I was so taken aback by the Iconic duo debuting and the promo they cut and the beatdown. And I don't know why. If it had been anyone else doing the beatdown, I'd have been like, oh cool, well, here's where the cash in's coming from. But even the crowds were just so into the Iconics doing the beatdown that they weren't thinking about a cash in either, because usually you can sense people looking up the ramp waiting for it to happen. No one did. Everyone was focused on what happened. And there was this brilliant moment when they were lifting up her lifeless body into the ring. It was a wonderful sell job by Charlotte. And we were just like, oh, really? Because we've beaten her down so much she literally can't stand up anymore and help herself get in. And then they just posed over, did their little pose. And then the moonwalking, trash-talking Carmella, Mella is money, made her entrance. And I instantly thought, Ollie's lady partner's going to love this.
Yes, so, I instantly thought, has Carmella got a match now? Because I'm an idiot. Because I am an idiot a lot of the time when I watch wrestling. I could read reports all day. Carmella's going to cash in. Carmella's going to cash in. When Carmella's music hits, she got a promo segment now. I don't know I get wrapped up in it. It's for the best.
It is.
Because I'm genuinely surprised all the time. But yeah, I was watching it around 6:45 in the morning. My lady partner doesn't usually stir until 3 in the afternoon. 8 o'clock really. So she had like an hour and a half left in bed, and she likes her sleep. But she also likes Carmella.
She likes Carmella's music.
Yeah, as soon as she likes the moonwalking as well.
Yeah.
And she knows someone called Carmella. She always likes people that she already knows someone with the same name.
Yeah.
The reason she picked Kevin Owens in the WrestleMania predictions was because that's kind of like your last...
It's a little bit...
It's exactly like your last name.
Exactly like my last name, because there's always that S on the end there. That doesn't exist.
So I took my laptop into the bedroom. She was asleep. The lights were off. Turned on the light. Hey. Morning. Are you awake? Hey. Do you want to see some wrestling? I think you'd like it. I don't know. Come, move aside. You're watching it. Sit up.
No,
Sit up.
I've already pressed play.
Come on. F-A-V. You didn't get the spelling, did it? Didn't start with that. But yes, she watched it and she was like, yeah, go away now. But yes, Carmella runs down and she... Oh my God, Mike Chioda!
This referee, he's been in this game for at least like 50-odd years at this point now. He's just been with WWE forever. And she was hanging the briefcase. He looked at this briefcase like he'd never seen anything like it before. He was like, what? What are you doing? What are you saying? You want a match?
So frustrating.
Right now? For the title? I mean, all right, if you say so, if that's what this thing means. Then he walks over to Greg Hamilton, and he's just like, something about it. Like, I think.
Have you heard of this thing?
I've never heard of this, mate. But here you go. Make the announcement. I guess I'm a ref now. It was so infuriating because Carmella's screaming at him, and all the while, this is clearly done on purpose. I just hit the microphone. This is clearly done on purpose because all the while I was like, Charlotte's going to recover. Yes. Charlotte's going to recover and she's going to get back up and this is all going to bollocks up. But it didn't.
So that's it. It was like as stupid as it looked, it was effective because I Charlotte was getting to her feet and it was, the iconic duo had already done their pose and it was quite actually a while after the last beatdown part. So it was good in that respect. But good grief, he looked like an absolute idiot. And Corey did such a great job just screaming, what does the referee not understand?
Corey was on fire in this segment. He was like, because Corey...
He's had a good week.
Corey has just gone heel. Like, he is now just a 100% heel. Like, he is so heel, he doesn't even like Rusev Day anymore. Like, even like, he's just like the modern day Maharaja. That's where it's at. He's 100% a heel character now. But he was
I think that's for the best.
I think it's for the best as well, because now he can really fit into that Jerry Lawler, like 1999, 2000 Jerry Lawler role.
Just get your hands up, boss. I didn't keep thinking about that.
Stop showing that replay. That's my boss. And he was just great during this. So Carmella, Charlotte sort of gets to her feet. The referee's like, are you okay? It's like, clearly she's not. Boom, kick to the face. And Carmella had this beautiful smile on her face as the referee counted 3. She was like crying. She was so happy. She was late. And the credit to SmackDown and credit to the production team and the way they laid this show out. They spent a long time celebrating this championship when Carmella got to do lots of laps around the ring, got to go up the ramp, come back down the ramp. I've never heard so much of her entrance music before because I think they played it twice. And I like it when you make a title change feel like it's something important. And this felt like it was something important. I've seen a few people say I don't want to see a chicken S-word heel with the belt because that kind of buries the whole thing. But I thought this was a really well done segment. I thought it was really effective. I totally bought into everything that was happening. I absolutely loved it. And Byron Saxton, babyface Byron Saxton, kept saying, "Oh, we've got to give Charlotte credit." And then Corey just goes, "Shut up, Byron! This is Carmella's moment. Stop saying these things."
And he threw his pencil at Byron as well, and then he corpses.
Did you see? someone sent me a gif of this. I didn't know because again I was distracted by Q and Sal from Practical Jokers behind them because they were doing big faces and they were going like, oh, did you see that? 1, 2, 3, she won. It made me laugh. But when he threw the pencil at him, the pencil bounced off Byron and bounced away, and then Corey Graves just produces another pencil out of his sleeve. He does a pencil trick. So he throws one at him, and then just out of nowhere, he goes like that, and a pencil appears in his hands.
Oh, Corey's really good he's so good this week. He's so hot right now.
He's so hot right now.
His hair's so hot right now.
His hair is awful, but then it keeps getting bigger, but he's very, very good.
Next up
Maybe his hair was meant to be bad because he's a heel now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Makes you dislike him because he looks like a giant ice gem. Next up, speaking of giving new champions their due time, Jinder Mahal had a nice little seat and what do you call it?
Like a throne.
Like a cross between a sofa and a throne.
Yeah.
A throne. a throne-fer.
Yeah.
And it had a little Indian rug underneath it, and Sunil was standing next to him. It was a really nice way. I know Rusev Day. Well, you know what? I wouldn't have booked Rusev to win. Mm-hmm. I would have booked Rusev not to get pinned.
Which they
did. Then I would have booked Rusev to be the number one contender. I think Jinder as the US champion is great.
Yes, I completely agree. And my issue with this is not that Jinder is champ, because I think Jinder is going to be very good in this role, particularly if you've got Corey Graves talking about how great the modern day Mahal. There was a moment when someone got thrown over the table. I think it was Rusev, likely. Rusev bowed over. And Corey Graves, everyone stood up out of the way. He was like, I don't want to step on the carpet. It's not mine. And it's a really nice touches like that. And yeah, my issue is not with Jinder as champion. It's just with Randy Orton winning. We're at the year anniversary of Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship, and it just all of these memories of the summer of Jinder just came flooding back. That awful Jinder experiment that just got over like a fart in a church, and I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see this match again, and it's happening in front of my eyes, and anyone else would have been preferred.
Yeah. Well, they actually had some. Their last match together was pretty decent, I thought. I remember enjoying it. It was the one in Canada.
But you've got to remember, it's not just the matches. It's the weeks of build you've got to do for the matches as well.
But I was always against that just because I didn't buy Jinder as the top guy. But I so buy him as the top mid-carder.
Yes,
absolutely. And I'm optimistic. I think this won't be terrible.
And
that's what you want, isn't it?
I love. I mean, you have got some big balls of optimism, but I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping you're right, and I am wrong, because I would like to enjoy this portion of SmackDown, because I like Jinder in this role. Maybe it's just I'm just over Randy Orton. Maybe that's what it is. But oh man, I don't want to see this feud again. That's why I hope Jinder goes to Raw.
The Rusev on the commentator's desk spot was the Orton backdrop.
Yes.
When he just sort of chucks them on that. And I thought Sunil must be so happy that isn't him right now. But then when Randy Orton came out later, Rusev got him up from out of nowhere and dropped Randy on the announcer's desk. I was like, yes! And then Rusev had this really fiery comeback bit against Bobby Roode, couple of matcha kicks, and then he locks in the accolade, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to go with it. But then Randy Orton throws him out, RKO on Roode.
Thunderous boos. To thunderous boos, but you got to remember, this is a wacky crowd. It's not the usual crowd that we get here at WWE shows, so they might boo people they usually cheer.
So that will be Jinder and Randy at Backlash. It's just, as much as we love Rusev and how over he is right now, Bobby Roode.
Oh man, well, Bob, what a star that has fallen. You talk about, Shinsuke turning heel and how that should reinvigorate and kind of save SmackDown. Bobby needs one to save his fledgling career at the moment. It's only just beginning, but it feels like it's coming to a drastic end at the moment, because even at WrestleMania, in front of the most hardcore of hardcore crowds, Glorious didn't seem over as it was this time last year. And that's an absolute crying shame. Because it's a great entrance theme, and it's a great entrance, and it's a great character if it's a heel. As a babyface, it's not getting over at all.
Awkward smiling like Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's just bad, man.
And the dynamics work as well. Jinder's always a heel now. He's a great heel. And make Bobby a heel as well. Keep Orton as a tweener. Rusev as a face.
Works for everyone.
That's a nice little four-way feud.
Also, I love, I just love Aiden English's new look. I think he looks so cool with the shaved head. Like, if I could grow a full beard, it might even tempt me to do it, although my friend, and the main reason I love it is my friend has the exact same look. He's got a great big bushy beard, and he's got the shaved head, and he just looks like a badass, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that, but I can't grow proper facial hair, so I can't do that.
Then we had Carmella continuing those celebrations. They really did put it over. And 287 days she said she had that Money in the Bank briefcase. A lot of days. She sort of like mocks Charlotte's style of promo. I just want to say thank you to myself. I thought there she was going to bring out Big Cass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I'm good at predicting things that don't happen,
yeah,
but not good at seeing things that quite obviously were. But it was a nice theme to the promo in that the Queen has been usurped by the princess. She's the Princess of Staten Island. I never really made that connection, but that's a nice bit that goes through
that is really cool, yeah. Do you want to hear one of my predictions for SmackDown next week? I think Big Cass is going to debut on SmackDown.
Ooh.
And that'll be like one of the surprise superstar shakeups. He's been drafted from Raw to SmackDown, and that'll be like his in-ring return. Because there are also rumours that he's getting a name change.
I don't know if he's cleared.
I think he is cleared. Well, he's been backstage at Raw, and the rumour, the word is, he's been telling people that he has been cleared.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And
you think he's going to get a name change?
Well, that's also one of the other rumours, is because they want to try and separate him away from the Enzo and Cass connection. So he's going to debut as Colin Cassidy under his real name.
But still call him Big... Okay, whatever.
But also
Big Cass is a good name. They don't come up with many good names anymore.
The problem is he keeps standing there with his arm up and covering up the C, and then it just looks like Big Ass.
But that's funny if he's a heel. Okay, then we had the main event. Beforehand, AJ Styles is walking along. Renee Young got to do some more bad scripted stuff, unfortunately for her.
Poor Renee.
And asks about Nakamura, and AJ's like, nope, I'm going to beat Bryan as well.
Yeah, good as Bryan is, he's not phenomenal.
But then the actual match, because we talked about the Nakamura run-in, let's just go through the main event here.
Oh, man, I loved this.
Yeah, it was so... it's so nice to see Bryan wrestle.
It genuinely really is. And what I love about this, and this is all on my own, it's my own fault, I suppose. When they said that Bryan's cleared to wrestle, instantly my head went, he's going to be a part-timer. Like he'll just do the big four, and that's all we'll see of him. And I'd kind of just like relegated myself into that thought process. But then when Shane said he's an active wrestler and he's going to have his first match on SmackDown tonight, all of a sudden this another wave of emotion was like, am I going to get to see Bryan wrestle almost every week? This is amazing. I want to watch SmackDown every week now, aside from the fact that I have to do it for my job. But I'm excited to see it again now because I love Daniel Bryan so much.
Because it's not just that he is a fantastic in-ring wrestler, like his style. I just forgot how much I love it. And it's also all the context of his journey and how we were all behind him, and then he had the 3 years out. We've been deprived of it for so long. So it is so overwhelmingly rewarding to see him back in the ring. Very, very happy.
Yeah, there's some really great spots in this match as well.
Do you think he's changed his style? Because there were a lot of reports for ages, all the way through last year, that he was going to adapt more to a submission ground-based style to limit the amount of bumps he has, just as a bit of insurance for himself, more like the Zack Sabre Jr. mold.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I've forgotten what Bryan's wrestle style is like, but I do felt like he did a lot more submission-based, ground-based stuff here.
Going to say very much so. In fact, one of my favourite spots of this match, because it just sort of came out of nowhere, is Bryan hits a double underhook suplex and transitioned it straight into an armbar. Like it was like that, and I was like, that's a wicked spot. That's a really clever thing. And he was always going for the armbar, and they had this really cool submission exchange of going like for the calf crusher, and that got into an armbar, into the yes lock, and into a pinfall. Some just really, really, really great stuff here. I loved everything in this match, and I'm salivating at the idea of a pay-per-view match for the WWE Championship where you can get like 20-25 minutes. That'd be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and there was that running knee counted into the Styles clash as well, into the yes lock, but then AJ got his foot on the rope. It was a great 10-minute match, and like you said, it's a very tricky balance to strike, which is like a really, really good, dramatically exciting 10-minute match that is nowhere near the level of a pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
It's like you've got that TV match down perfect, but when you bring out the pay-per-view match, it's even better. So I don't know what you gave SmackDown.
I gave it a very, very high Smacktastic. I don't want to give it a full Smackdown because I'm so down on Jinder and Randy, but a high Smacktastic certainly for me. You can give it a Smackdown?
SmackDown.
Hot damn, man!
5 out of 5. A lot of people I've seen say, it was really good, not as good as Raw the previous night. For me, all the things that happened here, so I'm thinking Paige is being announced as the general manager, the iconic duo, the Iconics, Call Up, and the Carmella cash-in, the Nakamura heel turn, and then the main event segment of that three-way feud for the title. That has all the really good thrills and surprises and memorable moments that Raw had, but it links it into story and feud. And that's what I was talking about yesterday with the Raw review. I felt like, Bobby Lashley returned by squashing Elias. That's not really a program.
No.
Authors of Pain squashed Heath Slater and Rhino. Ember Moon in just a sort of throwaway tag match. The Paige retirement, was good. Not good that it happened, but a well done segment. What else happened? The Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing.
House show main event.
See, it was all it was thrilling, but I felt like there was nothing actually underlying.
It was all stuff.
Yeah, and
good
no
stuff.
substance.
All good stuff, but just stuff. Whereas here, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay debuting straight into the mix with Charlotte, and that's where you kind of debut people, is you make them. And I did see I was really surprised actually when I finish the show, I go and check my Twitter mentions and see what other people have, they send me what they think of the show. It was all negative.
Really?
It was all negative, but it's because people, I think what I got from people, everyone was expecting Almas to debut. Everyone was expecting more NXT call-ups. Everyone was expecting other things. And the more you sort of read these things, you're like, well, actually, I'm glad it was just the one NXT call-up. That was the common complaint was we only got one NXT call-up, so it was a really rubbish show. And I'm like, but they're instantly into a championship match, and that's all you need. If you're going to debut, you can't debut loads of people all the time because people get lost in the shuffle. If you'd have debuted, I don't know, who's another woman on the NXT roster?
Kairi Sane,
Bianca Belair. If Bianca Belair had debuted and just pinned Ruby Riott in a match or Sarah Logan or something, cool, but what does that do? Bianca Belair's on the main roster. Great, I like her, but what's she doing next? Here, Iconics debut, we know where they're going. And you've got Carmella's got the belt now, so now you've actually got a 4-way feud there, and 2 of them are a tag team. That's a really interesting dynamic.
And just from, Paige as the general manager, Iconic duo call-up, a Money in the Bank cash-in.
A really, really good Money in the Bank cash-in as well.
And a Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles main event.
And
how is that
match.
not an incredible show?
As I said,
just those 4 bits.
If we were on the douchebag rating scale, it would be a 4.75 for me, a 4 3/4 stars, and I'm only knocking that quarter
for the main event.
No, I mean for the whole show.
Oh right, okay.
No, the whole show is a 4.75 for me, and I'm only knocking that quarter star off because anyone but Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal, but that's my own prejudice against against those two working together again.
Well, I'm sticking with my 5 out of 5.
You are right on that.
And I give out very, very few of those.
You certainly do.
I think I've not given a handful. Probably only done 3 or 4 top rated things. So what a 5 days for wrestling.
Certainly was, and very varied and fascinating and interesting, ebbs and flows, more ups and downs than Simon Miller on a trampoline. It's been all over the show, but very enjoyable.
And I am hugely optimistic and excited to see what happens next week.
Got the Superstar Shake-Up next week, my friend.
Maybe that's what we can do for our Saturday WrestleRamble, a couple of Superstar Shake-Up picks. So tune in for that. But for now, click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news or WrestleRamble. Subscribe to this channel so you're notified when the next WrestleRamble goes live, and to the WrestleRamble podcast version with its own exclusive intros and outros wherever you get your podcasts. This has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this long WrestleMania week. And that was Rambling.